So we've got 9 of the beams in, 9 of what?
16.
12? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So we got 9 of the 12 beams in. This one, we're almost ready to put it in. We've got all of our posts in.
We're on the home stretch.
We're on the home stretch for beams and posts, and then it's floor joists. Actually, no. After the beams are all done, then we have to put braces under all of them. And then after the braces, we do floor joists.
All right. Let's do that there.
Hold that right there on that line. Each one of these beams will be treated with Thompson water seal so that there's no open ends or open cuts. That will guarantee the longevity of the lumber. Each one of these cuts has to fit in there relatively snug, and I'm just adding some screws. This is just temporary. I will take these out again and make sure all the cut ends are treated with the Thompson water seal. Sometimes the wood is a little warped. It's rough lumber, so we have to use clamps to pull everything together the way it should be. But so far, everything is running level. There's so many cuts to get one of these beams prepared. And you have to measure a couple of times. You don't want to miscut because there's no room for error. This plank here needed the end planed down. That planer has come in so handy. Of course, here we're just getting all of the right cuts and measurements to make sure everything is working as it should. I end up flipping these beams probably, I would say, 3 or 4 times anyway per end, just to get everything set up properly. Sometimes I had to get the electric saw out and run the generator because those cross-cut cuts would take most of the juice out of the batteries. try to be careful not to overcut so it doesn't weaken the joint of the beam. These beams are actually 10 inches by 6 inches, so they're quite hefty. They're going to hold the house up really well. All this lumber that you see here, I actually milled it all. I cut the logs, dried them, and then milled the lumber out of them. It's just such an awesome feeling to know that the home that you're building, that you cut the lumber, you cut the trees. It's just a really neat, sentimental feeling to know you put so much work into your home. Just squaring this end up on this beam here just a bit. I wasn't satisfied with how square it was, so you've got to have a good sawzall, a reciprocating saw. They're so handy. We'll swing it here just so I can get a hold of it easier and set it in place to make sure everything fits good. Jade wanted to come over and just take a peek at what I was doing. Funny she didn't want to help lift the beam. And it fits in there nice. Any of those gaps and cracks will all be filled with caulking. And we give it the level test, and it came out very, very nice. We had great luck when we ran all these beams. Everything, you know, was really level. I'm just adding a couple shims here to this one just to bring it up just a hair. I'm just really fussy when it comes to keeping everything level and square. As you can tell, that post and beam is off the concrete just a bit. We had some struggle with that post. There was so much water when we poured that post and beam down into the ground. For some reason, the concrete, the footing shifted itself, but we'd already poured the concrete. There's nothing we could do to change it, so. But it's still on the support, you know, the concrete quite a bit, so we're not concerned with it. It didn't compromise the integrity or the strength of it. So now that we have all the beams in place, it's time we moved on to bracing the beams. A very important part of keeping the foundation secure is to make sure everything is braced well so there's no side-to-side movement or back and forth. I used 6x6 for bracing. I wanted it very strong. Each 6x6 brace was cut so that it would fit intricately into the beam itself, making it much stronger than just putting it or attaching it on the side. You'll see what I mean in just a second here. And most people know on these speed squares, these little grooves are so you can put your pencil there. This is 1 inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half, inch and 3/4, 2 inches. So all you got to do is, instead of using a straight edge all the time, just put your pencil right in whatever groove you need. Like if you need 1 inch, you put it in the 1 inch and you just drag it and it makes a square mark as long as you're riding the side of it, the square. So now you can see we're putting the brace, this is the first one, and we're sliding it in underneath the beam and against the post. I'm just marking it there because I have to take it over and cut a lot of that wood out so that that brace will fit under there nicely and attach really good to the beam. Generator needs a little gas. That's one of the most expensive parts of this whole process, is keeping the generators running. There's a lot of cuts that had to be done on these braces to get them ready to be attached to the beam. And now you can see how it slides right under, but also attaches to the side and braces that beam in place. Using 6-inch Ardox spiral spikes here. And this is a GRK. It's a special construction screw. It's highly rated for holding, for being able to take great load capacities without ever giving or breaking or bending. And that's how we brace them. I know it seems like they're really big braces, 6x6s, but this is the front of the house. It's 4 feet up off the ground. It's the highest part. It's where, you know, you'll get, if you get any movement, it'll be the highest point off the ground. So that's why I'm putting these really rugged braces in here. They're all recessed, attached to the side. There's just no possible way that it's going to, you know, have any movement to it. And that's what I want. Now as I go back, because the elevation to the back of the house is much less than the front of the house, just because of the hill, the lay of the land, I'll probably drop down to 4x4s, and I'll use 4x4s on the braces back there. But out front here, where it's really high, I'm going with the 6x6s just because I can, I want to, and it's overkill, I know, but that's what I want to do. I want it to last. I want it to be built strong. And you'll notice they're all recessed to fit under it. So all of this is resting on that brace. It's all nailed in, spiked in. So it's really solid. I like it. It reminds me of how they used to build years ago when they would cut the ends of the logs or the timbers, rough hewn, you know, timbers, and then they drill them with an auger and then drive a wooden pin through them. It's kind of like that idea. I just kind of like doing it this way. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it's longer, more labor intensive. Sometimes I find myself really appreciating the old ways of building things rather than having to do it the new commercial way. So I'm enjoying this pioneer path of building. I really am. It's getting dark. That's it for today. We're going to put our tools away, and tomorrow we'll finish up the braces. It's the next day, and we're thankful that our son-in-law Zach was able to come out for a few hours and help us out building these braces. Zach had never built braces like this before. He's a carpenter apprentice.
I want to show you what I do sometimes. I'll take my like this. I'll set it there. Now, I want you to stand back here. Look where your line is versus where that's going to come in. Here's something. Yep. See the difference? Yep. So that's why sometimes you have to improvise with wood like that.
Yeah.
And so now you can draw your line.
Zach's a good worker. He knows a lot about what he's doing. He works in carpentry every day. So we're thankful again that he was able to come out and spend some time, help out. It certainly does make things go much faster when you got a second pair of hands that can help out with building and lifting and just overall everything. But again, he'd never seen braces like this, never built braces like this. So it was a learning curve for him as well. I think he just likes using my Milwaukee tools. We're just getting that big block of wood cut out of there so that it fits up underneath the beam. We want it to fit snug so that all the weight of the house and the bracing is on that cutout rather than just being spiked to the side of the beam. The beam actually sits on that and is locked into place with our structural screws and then braced against the concrete on the ground. And of course the Thompson water seal, put that in all the open cuts.
Zach said on a day pass, good behavior. The van dropped him off this morning. And I don't know a thing.
I'm just squaring off some of the extra on that brace. It was just a bit long on the top, so we had to readjust it and cut the extra off there. The sawzall. And we're just trying this brace, trying to cut this one on the miter saw to see if it's a little faster. And here we go. Here's the finished product. You can see how the braces fit in there.
Yeah, I'm thinking that was this.
There's Ruby, our blue tick. And there's some more of the finished work. You can see how solid they are. They look really nice. Very pleased with how they turned out. And again, a house is only as strong as its foundations. That is a strong foundation. So thanks for watching, everyone. We appreciate everyone that is visiting Creekside. Subscribe. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. We'd appreciate it so much. And we'll be right back here again with our next video. See you on the next one. Thank you.